Hey guys, welcome to Social Studies. So last class we covered kind of the Bill of Rights, and that was the first 10 amendments in our Constitution. So after we fought the Revolutionary War, we came up with our own government, our own Constitution, set of rules. Um, and if you look at a map of the original 13 colonies, they're all, on the East Coast. They all kind of border the Atlantic Ocean. But at this time, there was just basically everything almost west of maybe Ohio was there were Native Americans living there, but there wasn't really any other states west in our country, even Midwest. So the United States up with this concept, and it's called manifest destiny. And this is an important concept. This I've seen it on the test several times. So, manifest destiny. It says awesome nation seeks growth opportunity. So this says imagine you just create a brand new nation. It's a nation based on freedom and equality, where citizens control the government and are free to make the best of life. It's obviously the greatest nation on earth, even though it's young and small. But just think, if this great nation grew, more people will get to live this way. It could be a giant land of freedom and equality, no doubt about it. This nation was meant to get a lot bigger. So, welcome to the concept of manifest destiny, the idea that America was meant to grow so democracy and freedom could spread. So, that's the biggest takeaway. It's this idea that America was meant to grow so we could spread democracy and freedom. Okay. So, we're all about those rights. When the American colonists declared independence from Great Britain, they were determined to be free from abusive British rule. They demanded liberty and equality, which they saw as naturally belonging to all citizens. For them, equality meant every citizen had the same rights instead of a few noble families having special privileges that common people did not have. Liberty meant citizens had the freedom to govern themselves and do what they wanted with their lives. The United States was the first nation ever built around these principles. More than that, Americans just didn't think they offered a better way of life. They believed they were creating a nation that fulfilled the divine purpose. Okay, so it says destined to grow. From its very first few days, America began to expand. At the end of the Revolutionary War in 1783, the British gave American control of enough extra land that America doubled its size right away. There was never a question that America would settle this land. It wasn't long before the United States stumbled on a chance to buy some extra territory from France for an amazing low price. In 1803, America doubled its size again. Now the U.S. spread halfway across the continent. For a few decades after this growth basically stopped, by the 1840s, more and more American settlers were moving west, and many United States leaders were itching to get their hands on more territory. Okay, so this is where the concept of manifest destiny comes up. It says, it was during this time that the newspaperman John O'Sullivan first used the phrase manifest destiny. O'Sullivan was fed up with a long debate about Texas becoming part of the United States. While Congress dragged his feet, other countries were trying to make deal with Texas. O'Sullivan said these other nations had the goal of limiting our greatness and checking the fulfillment of our manifest destiny to overspread the continent allotted by Providence. Manifest means obvious. Destiny means a future that has already been determined by divine source. O'Sullivan was saying America was being stopped from doing what was obviously destined to take over the continent. So there's a little bit of kind of the religious thing about the providence. Our future has already been determined by divine source, destiny. And a lot of people took that to be God basically had wanted us to expand westward. Obviously, it's probably a little bit of an overreach, but that's what a lot of people kind of thought. It was like kind of tied to freedom and religion in some ways. Okay. about that whole taking over thing. Sounds pretty bad. Oh, but O'Sullivan didn't believe the U.S. should just attack its neighbors, take their land, and be done with it. He believed taking over would naturally happen as Americans settled new areas. O'Sullivan expected American settlers would move into places that Mexico owned, say, for example, California, and build new communities based on American principles. The settlers would want to keep what they built, so they would demand independence from Mexico. Because Mexican's government was too disorganized and distant to resist, O'Sullivan believed the settlers would secede. That's not quite how it happened. So it says expanding territories. Up until this point, the U.S. had only had new territory by negotiation with European countries that controlled land nearby. One exception was Texas. There, American settlers had won independence from Mexico in 1836 and asked to become part of the United States. This is probably what O'Sullivan imagined would happen elsewhere too. Texas became a state in 1845. But then the American hunger for more territory had grown pretty intense, so the tension between the U.S. and Mexico, who owned most of the land between the U.S. Pacific Ocean. President James Polk had his eye on this land when he took office in 1844, and he was determined to get it for America. So, okay, maybe when we do mean taking over. Okay. So when U.S. asked Texaco, Mexico was furious. The Mexican government felt the U.S. had violated Mexico's borders and taken its land. Even so, President Polk tried to buy additional land from Mexico, but Mexico wouldn't sell. So Polk took advantage of the tension and started a war. The United States won. Mexico gave up what is now the southwestern United States, and many Mexicans living there lost their land to American settlers. But at the same time, America worked out a deal with Great Britain to get Oregon Territory, now in the northwest United States. By the end of the 1840s, the United States stretched from coast to coast. American settlers began pouring in a new western frontier. So it's a not so civilized attitude. Okay, Americans rolled in the West believing they were bringing civilization to an untamed land. But thousands of Native Americans already lived on that land in civilizations that existed for centuries. Most Americans in the 1800s couldn't appreciate that. They saw Native Americans as uncivilized, little better than wild animals. To make room for civilization, the U.S. kept moving Native tribes out of the way to smaller and smaller areas. Native Americans either lost access to their traditional lands or saw those lands destroyed by mining, logging, or overhunting. As Americans' manifest destiny played out, Native American way of life quickly disappeared. So, as we kept moving westward, obviously the Native Americans have been living, like it said, been living there for thousands of years. So we took over their land. We didn't think they were living the right way. All these conflicts came into kind of, came to a head during this time when we were moving westward. And I want to show you this cartoon here. Okay, this kind of puts the manifest destiny into perspective here. So this angel or whatever she is, that's the divine right that we should have all this land. But if you look, you can see, it'll ask you about Native Americans. And you can see the Native Americans here are fighting or running away. You can see all these buffalo are running away. You can see the settlers just keep moving westward. There's settlers here, settlers here. There's a train there. So this is basically what we were doing. We were putting, railroad tracks through Native American land, chasing them off. We were killing buffalo at like a record pace, and everyone's kind of running away. And the whole divine thing is this angel right here. So basically, there's some questions that go with this political cartoon you can answer. And if we go back up to here, there's another political cartoon right here about, I think this is about President Polk. Basically, he's got this sword here that says manifest destiny. So we're actually fighting for what's something that they think we're supposed to have. So there's some contradiction to that manifest destiny, okay? So what I want you to do when you get a chance here, and this shows basically, this one right here basically shows our country right after the Revolutionary War. You can see there's nothing out on the west. We're mostly on the East Coast. And this map does it too. And you can see there's nothing basically west of Mississippi. This is all a Mexican territory. This is the Southwest. It was Mexican. This is what Oregon Territory was. We got it from Great Britain. So what I want you to do is just take a look at these questions here. Go ahead and answer the best you can. I think down at the bottom here, the answers are here. There's a kind of a word puzzle here too, all about manifest destiny. There's some quotes here too about manifest destiny. This one, don't worry about this matching. We would have done that in class. So go ahead and try to answer these. I will try to go over this with you guys next time if you have any questions. So that's it for today. Welcome back. I hope everyone had a nice break. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Bye.